This is the stern of the engine, and we've got the outer hull where the green flags are, and then on this side at a distance there we've got red flags which indicate the cloaking device, where the cloaking device is. So between the hull and the cloaking device there's quite a big space which we think is a working area which was being used for the repair of the ship. Now, going into the ship, we see the two yellow circles which are the engines. The right hand one is the working engine, and so you get the full pattern of exhaust gases under it, plus the residue of the dead worms. In other words, the engine's powerful enough to have killed the worms off underneath it. The engine that has broken down on the left is not powerful enough to kill the worms, so we don't get any dead worms under it, and we only get one of the exhaust gases, which is the ammonia. And then moving forward of the engines, we come to the flight deck where the crew are, and we can pick up, sticking out of the front, two laser cannons which are indicated by a line of 3 red flags for each one, and then with the blue flags up there, the blue are indicating the edge of the hull, and the red ones out there are indicating where the cloaking device is. So the cloaking device is very close to the hull for most of the way around the ship, apart from the stern, where we think there's a sort of a workshop area where the people are working to try and get the ship going again. The next stage is to find out what is in this part of the ship, which is between the engines and the end of the hull, and we might be dealing with the aerodynamic surfaces here which enable the thing to fly through our atmosphere. In the emblem of the ship, right? So with a bit of luck I get a nice response on the blue here, but I don't get a response here using blue. So I've got bands of colour, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bands of colour. Now the other thing we've got is a gold eye, and this is in gold, and it's surrounded again by a blue circle, and then outside that blue circle there's a white circle. So that would give the impression that it's possibly an eye, something like that. And there's one on that side as well, so the ship has got this very striking coloured emblem on this side and one on that side. Now the hull of the ship is in fact where this white tape is. So this is the side of the ship which is at about 3 foot from the ground. And then outside the hull of the ship there's a cloaking device which is between 7.5 feet high, so people cannot actually see the ships inside due to the cloaking device. The yellow flags are indicating the iridium rings of the engines, and the iridium rings, there is one there, and there's a gap, then there's another one there, then there's a gap, and then the third ring of the engine is up there. So this is the one of the 3 engines with their 3 iridium rings. This is the other engine, again with the sort of iridium rings in it, but this is the engine that packed up, so it's not working. And what the intergalactic RAC have done is to send a yellow cab along, and they've now connected up the faulty engine with a power supply back at the rescue vessel and the blue rope indicates the magnetic cable bringing the power to this engine, and that will enable this ship to take off again and then go off back home. So that's the powerhouse of the craft. Now this area is the flight deck, and this is where the crew are, and going in from the front, this is the cloaking, so the front of the ship is cloaked. In fact, the red and white tape is indicating the cloaking system. But the ship is lightly armed. It's got 2 laser cannons, so that's one laser cannon there and the other laser cannon there. They are neon laser cannons firing a mixture of ammonia and iodine. This is the front of the ship, and here you've got the polycarbonate front glass cabin, and the crew lie behind here doing their various jobs. And there was a crew of, I think, 4, possibly 5, including P-gilfs and humanoids. Behind the engines there's obviously a lot of aircraft, but we don't know what it is yet. So that is for another expedition when we come and look at what is at the tail end. But we do know a little bit about the tail end, and if we sort of look at it, we've got the stern of the ship here. So here we're looking down the length of the ship, and at about 3 foot along here there is what you might call a tail flap which moves up and down, and what we do is we identify the hydraulic system that moves it and the lubrication points where on the axes that it's spinning. So we know that there's a flap here for aerodynamic control, and then over here about 5 or 6 feet in from the hull there is a vertical tail fin. So there are 2 of them, one here going up to about 7 possibly 8 feet, and another one over here doing the same. So it's going up here. So to look at, if you were looking at it from the side, you would see almost a conventional aircraft in terms of the hull going like that, and then you'd see the tailplanes going up and then coming down like that. So it would look an odd aircraft to our eyes, but it would be clearly an aerodynamic craft able to maneuver in the air.